What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Let me turn this over just a little bit. And welcome back to another pre-market watch list here today. So thank you guys again for tuning in as normally. So today should be an interesting day. We got a few earnings plays that'll be focusing on. That's going to be my main attention, main focus today is the earnings plays. As many of you guys know, we have Netflix. Netflix is going to be one of the biggest earning plays of the day. So, the stream might have started a little off there, but anyways, I apologize. So the three main earnings plays that I'm going to be watching for today are going to be Netflix, LCRX, and then also watching IBM. So three pretty big potential plays on the day that I think will work out. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Morning, mate. Morning, higher self, Steven, Smack Gang, Daniel, Jason, Donnie, Angel. Yeah. So the reason I'm not following the weed stocks today is because the earnings plays are coming out, and earnings plays tend to be pretty easy money. I think it's interesting. I didn't expect the weed stocks to sell off like they did yesterday, but when they started to, I honestly wasn't surprised at all too. So, it was a little bit of a wrench for me. It kind of threw a twist on my trading day in the morning. Had a rough start to the trading day, messed up my recording. I ended up recording like hours of video of my the wrong screen, and it just became a mess. Yesterday was very odd. So, anyways, the wheat stocks didn't surprise me when they sold off that big. Kind of the buy the rumor, sell the news, but I think I think they will recover. I think there was just so much hype leading up to today and the legalization in Canada that they just had a good run and they just sold off, really, is all that happened. So I think in the coming days to weeks, they'll be good to watch, but I'm not, I'll probably keep an eye on them, but they're not like the main one I'm talking about. The reason I'm going to talk about Netflix and the earnings is because earnings tend to be pretty easy money when you really kind of get good at intraday trading, essentially. And they usually have really big moves too, so. Sound a little soft. So, let me see if I have the gain. Yeah, that's all good. So, yeah, let's get into it, all right? So I'm going to start sharing the screen. All right, so first one here that I'll be watching is Netflix. So we'll talk about Netflix. So I was actually going to trade Netflix and during the earnings and after hours and actually play it, but I was actually on my way home. I was going to trade from home, and then I got home like 3 minutes too late, and it was already up to 405. I'm like, So anyways, big move. I'm kind of torn on what Netflix is going to do. At this point, I really am not too sure. Just because the last time Netflix had earnings, it dropped like 80 points and then it bounced 60 points in the day. So it's like, are we going to have something similar to that? It's hard to tell. What I could say about Netflix is I won't be surprised if Netflix sells off. If Netflix just tanks, I won't be surprised. And if Netflix goes higher, I won't be surprised. They did have some pretty good earnings. They increased their user base by like a ton, especially foreign countries or countries, other countries. They grew their customer base and amount of users by dramatically. So, I mean, they did have a pretty good earnings, but they did lower their guidance. So earnings already happened. Like, they've already made that money and their guidance has been lowered. So I honestly think that this whole Netflix push, I do actually see Netflix giving back some of these gains at least over the next couple days to weeks. I mean, we'll see. I mean, if their guidance is lowered and with where the market's at, it wouldn't surprise me to see Netflix end up selling off in a couple days to weeks. and just really giving back all these gains. Wouldn't really surprise me. So really all we know is that 380 is a nice support on Netflix. So ideally what I'd be watching for is this 380 to hold support. And if it does, then, might consider taking a long out of the gates. If it holds and it looks like it wants to squeeze, maybe take a long and look for a rejection up here at $405, which is the pre-market high. Okay. If it cannot break up and it rolls over, then maybe I'll take it short, looking for a break below 380 down to the 370 mark, something like that. So I think Netflix is going to have really good range. It will move quickly today. So if you do trade it, you have to be careful because you can easily win and lose money like blink of an eye. MNGA. I'll take a look. So next one on the list is going to be IBM. So IBM is another earnings play that's gapping down, and it's breaking through this 138 support that I had. So, if you look back, 137, 138's been about a 3-year support system on IBM. So ideally, I'm going to watch it short if it stays below the 138 with the price target of about 130. If for whatever reason it starts to kind of push back up this way, I'll look for it to maybe reject off the after hour resistance here or the after hour resistance up here at 142. So I have 142 and about 140 marked off as some intraday resistance points. And then, 138 was the pre-market, 138 was the pre-market support. Actually, it was the after hour support that it's now currently breaking down. So going to be watching that short. Okay, so IBM has range. It can move quite a bit. The nearest type of support that I could see, if IBM starts going down, 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 the closest place I have for support is going to be around 130-ish, right in that area. So that could be a $7 drop move. Also watch it later in the day, because if it does take a sharp move down, it'll probably have a late day bounce, which brings it, have a nice bounce up towards like the VWAP maybe, and then there'll be a rejection short play probably. One second, I'm going to be taking a look at, so that's the game plan there with IBM. Next trade for me is probably going to be LRCX. I'm not a huge fan of this, but this is what I'm going to mention because LRCX is known to have about $10 range moves, or sorry, $20 moves on its earnings day. It's already moved $10, so I think there's an opportunity for probably about another $5 to $10 per share move on LRCX. So if some of you guys want to trade this one, just keep it on watch, but I do think there's going to be around about another $5 to $10 move taking place on LRCX today. All right, so now that we covered those are really the 3 stocks that I'm watching today. I know some of you guys just said, someone said MNGA has news. So yeah, little sub penny stock with news running right up into resistance at this point. Excuse me, hold on, wrong tool. So yeah, MNGA squeezing up, running right into a previous resistance. Sales, all right, MNGA reports September sales 900,000, up 260% year over year. 0.9 million sales of September mid-afternoon update, 600 points. Okay, so yeah, they increased some of their sales essentially. Yeah, you could watch that. That might squeeze a little bit more, but it does have a lot of overhead resistance on it. So I would still wouldn't be like super crazy about it, but you could watch it. It's already started moving, so I mean, it's right on resistance. This what is that price? Yeah, that downward trend line, previous drop zone. So it's at like a double resistance right now. I would watch it closely, but I won't be trading it personally. But yeah, that might have some moves with the news there. But it is also at like 2 resistance points currently. AMD is currently at resistance. Where its price is at right now is resistance. Well, hold on. Let me do this differently. Unless it broke up and over. Okay, so it did break over the 28s. Okay, yeah. So the next resistance point really on AMD is going to be in the $30 range. Right at 30 is the next resistance point. I don't even necessarily see it getting up there. It could, but it also has resistance right at 29. It's showing that resistance off at 29. Basically, AMD is going to be super dependent on the stock market. If the stock market goes up, AMD might trickle up, but if the market starts to pull back, AMD is probably going to come down as well. But this is the moment where it's going to start channel trading back and forth from the 24 to 29 or 30 range. So I would start becoming more short bias on AMD. I wouldn't be too crazy about longs. Right now on AMD, you should start thinking short bias. Sorry, I'm just reading some comments here. DXCM, I'll take a look. 150 earnings coming up. Probably took a slump with the market. I wouldn't do anything with DXM. I wouldn't do anything with DXCM at this point. I mean, that's just it. I mean, I don't know. If you're looking to get in, it's too late. If you're looking to short, it's not at a good short level. Basically, it's just in the middle of a move. So right now, I wouldn't do anything. I would just be neutral. If you're thinking about longing it, you missed the long. The long entry would have been down here or right in that pullback. So right now, it's not really a long entry. I wouldn't be shorting here because it's not fully at resistance. So right now, I think you just watch it on DXCM. Liquids, your question about how much does it take to start trading it's an impossible question because you could trade off your phone, which costs nothing, or you could trade with a lot of computers, which would then cost money. So it all depends personally. BLNK popped up yesterday right into the 200 moving average. Today, it's most likely going to, I would say there's a strong chance it sells off, but if for whatever reason it actually holds up, it could go to another short squeeze. So, do keep it on watch. I would say there's possibility. It failed to break down yesterday. It's somewhat holding up pre-market. It could go on a secondary pop today, but right now it's currently at a big a big resistance point, which is this 200 moving average. Okay. OGEN, I'll take a quick look at OGEN for you guys real quick. OGEN, popped up on some pretty weak news. I mean, I don't want to say it's weak, but I mean, yeah, it popped up and it's just kind of selling off. So you could keep it on watch. I mean, it is into like a dip buy particular area, but I just don't see. Here's the thing let's say it does start moving, right? It could move up to, let's say, 165, right? 165 from where it's currently at, that's 25 cents, and that's going to be a very choppy chart up for the most part. It's just, for me, it's not something I'll trade. I don't like the movement of OGEN. It doesn't have nice, consistent movement. So I won't trade that, but it could be at a good dip buy. I've seen stocks really pop up, pull back, and they're kind of hanging around this 50 moving average or the 50% retracement of the move pre-market, and then they do okay. So you could watch it. It does have some news this morning, and that's the reason it's going higher. So yeah, you could keep that on watch. I won't trade it personally. EARS is just going down right now. It rejected the 200 moving average 2 times. So at this point, I would say that is most likely done, and you're going to start seeing it come down now. It had a tweezer top right off its 200 moving average. So strong chance you're going to see this break 128s, 125s, and come down towards $1. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But we'll see. I mean, it could go higher, but it does have a lot of rejection points right at that 200 moving average on the daily chart. Let's see. And if higher self, if that was a donation, I super appreciate it. I was wondering if that was, and I didn't know if you somehow did something crazy with it, but yes, thank you very much. So the pickle, thank you for pointing that out for me. I do appreciate that. So to higher self, who donated $3.99, that's a huge thumbs up to you, and I do appreciate it. If you ever need anything, just reach out through our Discord channel, okay? So that's all that I'm going to be covering today. All right, so a lot of stocks we went over. I would definitely keep eyes on Netflix. I would definitely keep eyes on IBM. And then on the back burners would still be the weed stocks over the next couple days. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys today. All right, guys, take care, and I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for another pre-market watch list.